Caitlin Clark just touched down in Hollywood in the loudest way possible. Her face towering over Hollywood Boulevard on a massive Nike billboard, and the timing absolutely brutal. While some players are busy chasing attention online, trying to stay visible with Instagram posts, Clark is being permanently stamped onto one of the most famous streets on the planet. This isn't clout chasing, this is legacy building. Somewhere, Angel Reese had to watch her biggest rival get lit up in neon on a street that defines fame itself. And let's be honest, that kind of moment hits different. This isn't just another endorsement or promo run, it's a statement that shifts the entire conversation. So the real question is this: do you think Angel Reese is actually shaken by Caitlin Clark's Hollywood moment? Or has she reached the point where she truly doesn't care anymore? Let me know what you think in the comments, because Caitlin Clark didn't make it in the typical WNBA Hollywood way. No quick cameo in a forgettable film, no blink and you miss it reality TV appearance. Instead, she earned something far bigger, a massive Nike billboard planted right on Hollywood Boulevard, where thousands of people pass by every single day. This isn't some roadside ad tucked away in the Midwest. This is Hollywood Boulevard, the heart of the Walk of Fame, one of the most recognizable streets in America and arguably the world, and Caitlin Clark is now part of that scenery.
Hey Caitlin! Can you make it from there?
Hey Caitlin, how about from here? Come on guys.
Yeah, she can't make it from there. No chance.
Caitlin, from me to let?
You got it. I'm not even gonna ask.
Hey, Caitlin, from here might be impressive. Am I right?
Whatever, Che.
From right here.
From there!
From anywhere.
All right, well, looks like she can do it.
The billboard itself says everything you need to know. Caitlin Clark is frozen mid-action, paired with the blunt message, "You can't win, so win." It's part of Nike's Super Bowl campaign that features only the very top tier of athletes. Names like Jordan Chiles, Sabrina Ionescu, Sha'Carri Richardson, and Aja Wilson. The commercial plays over Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love, with Grammy winner Duce delivering a voiceover about how women athletes are constantly told what they supposedly can't do, and why they should do it anyway. It's bold, it's defiant, and Clark isn't just included. She's positioned as one of the faces of the entire campaign. Now, let's be honest about what this actually represents. Nike doesn't hand out Hollywood billboards as participation trophies. They don't spend prime advertising real estate on athletes who are merely solid or temporarily popular. This level of exposure is reserved for athletes who shift culture, not just stat sheets. The ones who move products, change conversations, and redefine their sport. Michael Jordan had billboards like this. LeBron James had them. Kobe Bryant had them. And now Caitlin Clark's image is towering over Hollywood Boulevard. That's the lineage she's being placed in. Clark acknowledged the moment on Instagram with a carousel of photos in full Nike gear, captioned, "You'll be told you can't do it, so do it anyway." It was peak Clark. Self-assured without being cocky, inspiring without sounding forced. Over the last few years, she's become extremely sharp when it comes to media and branding. She knows exactly how to communicate who she is and what she represents. And Nike clearly sees enough long-term value there to make her a centerpiece of their Super Bowl push. And this goes way beyond the novelty of seeing your face on Hollywood Boulevard. Nike Super Bowl ads are on an entirely different level. The Super Bowl is the most watched television event in the United States every single year. Brands spend millions for mere seconds of airtime, so when Nike commits that kind of money and chooses to center women athletes, it's not symbolic, it's strategic. It's Nike saying women's sports aren't a side project or a feel-good initiative. They're big business. Nike's Chief Marketing Officer Nicole Hubbard Graham told Fast Company that women athletes are currently breaking records across the board, selling out arenas, driving massive ticket demand, and signing contracts that would have been unthinkable not long ago. And she's right, the 2024 WNBA season delivered its strongest viewership in 24 years. Arenas were packed, merchandise sales exploded, and the single biggest catalyst behind that surge was Caitlin Clark. Clark's rookie season wasn't just impressive, it was transformational. She shattered multiple WNBA records, took home Rookie of the Year, and pulled millions of first-time viewers into women's basketball. Fans who had never watched a WNBA game were suddenly buying League Pass subscriptions just to follow her. Cities that used to struggle with attendance were selling out the moment the Indiana Fever showed up. That's not hype, that's gravity. That's the kind of influence that makes Nike say, we need her face on Hollywood Boulevard. Now let's talk about Angel Reese, because there's no chance she hasn't seen this billboard. You know she noticed it, and you know, on some level, it had to sting. Reese and Clark have carried a complicated rivalry from college into the WNBA, and Reese has consistently framed herself as Clark's equal, sometimes even positioning herself above her. She points to double-doubles, rebounding dominance, championships. And to be fair, she's a very good player. That part isn't debatable, but here's the reality. Being a great basketball player and being a cultural force are two completely different things. Angel Reese is a strong player with a solid online presence. Caitlin Clark is a once-in-a-generation star who has altered the financial and cultural landscape of women's basketball. Those impacts are not comparable. Reese has worked hard to build her brand, podcast appearances, Fashion Week invites, constant social media engagement. She's clearly trying to create something that exists beyond the court, and there's nothing wrong with that. Athletes should absolutely maximize their platform. But despite all of that effort, Reese isn't the one getting Nike billboards on Hollywood Boulevard. And comparisons don't need to be spoken. They're painfully obvious. Clark gets honored at NBA games. Clark gets Hollywood billboards. Clark gets featured in Super Bowl commercials. Clark is the highest paid female athlete in the world. Meanwhile, Reese is grinding for visibility through podcasts and Instagram posts. The difference in cultural relevance and commercial pull is massive, and moments like this Nike billboard make that gap impossible to ignore. What makes this even more striking is the message behind the campaign itself. You can't win, so win. It's aimed at women who've been told they're not strong enough, not skilled enough, not marketable enough. It's about rejecting limits and embarrassing doubters, and there may be no better embodiment of that message than Caitlin Clark. She was told her shooting range was unrealistic. She became one of the greatest long-distance shooters the game has ever seen. She was told women's basketball couldn't draw massive audiences. She delivered record-breaking viewership. She was told the WNBA couldn't sustain true superstars. And then she forced the league, the media, and the sponsors to rethink everything. Caitlin Clark didn't just live up to expectations, she blew straight past them. She's now the highest paid female athlete on the planet, and every step of the way, she's made skeptics look foolish. That's exactly why Nike is putting her face on their most valuable real estate. This isn't luck, it's earned. Sabrina Ionescu, who's also featured in the same Nike campaign, summed it up perfectly when she said, "Women's sports isn't the future, it's right now." You can see it in sold-out arenas, soaring TV ratings, and fans showing up in ways they never did before. And her follow-up line matters even more. Commanding attention isn't about volume, it's about presence. When you step into the moment, everyone notices. That distinction perfectly captures the difference between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Reese is loud. She's constantly visible, constantly talking, constantly making sure her name stays in the conversation. Clark doesn't operate that way. She walks onto the court, performs at a high level, and lets the results force people to pay attention. She doesn't need to announce her greatness. Her play does it for her. And clearly, Nike believes that level of impact deserves a spotlight on Hollywood Boulevard. The timing of this billboard matters too. As the 2026 WNBA season approaches, expectations around Clark couldn't be higher. She's been open about her goals, chasing the top ranking, winning more championships, and continuing to elevate the sport. This Nike moment isn't just a victory lap for what she's already done. It's a signal of what's expected next. It's recognition paired with pressure. For Angel Reese, that reality has to be frustrating. The surface comparison is obvious. Clark gets a Hollywood billboard, Reese doesn't. But the deeper truth cuts harder. No matter how much Reese pushes her personal brand, podcasts, fashion appearances, social media, she's still nowhere close to matching Clark's commercial pull or cultural influence. That's not opinion, that's reality. Reese can stack double-doubles. She can dominate the glass night after night. She can earn accolades, all-star selections, and respect within the league. All of that matters, but none of it automatically translates to being a global brand centerpiece. You don't get a Nike billboard on Hollywood Boulevard just by being productive. You get it by fundamentally moving the sport and the culture around it. And right now, that gap between Reese and Clark is enormous. Look at the other athletes Nike grouped Clark with in this campaign: Aja Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Jordan Chiles, and Sha'Carri Richardson. Wilson is arguably the best player in the WNBA. Ionescu has been instrumental in expanding women's basketball's reach. Chiles is an Olympic gymnast. Richardson is one of the fastest athletes in the world. And these aren't just talented competitors, they're dominant figures who reshape their sports. That's the company Clark is being placed alongside. So where does Angel Reese fit into that conversation? At the moment, she doesn't. That's not disrespect, that's an honest snapshot of where things stand. Reese is a strong player building a solid career. Clark is a phenomenon actively altering the landscape of women's basketball. Those are two very different tiers. This billboard also serves as validation for Clark's entire journey. When she entered the WNBA, doubts were everywhere. People questioned whether she could handle the physicality. They claimed her game wouldn't translate to the pro level. Some insisted the hype would fade and she'd be exposed as just another standout college player. Instead, she dismantled every one of those arguments. And now, one of the biggest brands in sports is celebrating her with a massive display on Hollywood Boulevard. For Reese, the takeaway should be obvious. Talking yourself up only gets you so far. Eventually, the noise has to be backed by undeniable impact. Clark has done that over and over again. She didn't just meet expectations, she exceeded them. That's why Nike trusts her to represent their brand in one of the most visible locations in America. The Super Bowl commercial itself adds even more context. Nike hasn't centered women's sports in a Super Bowl ad since 1998. That's nearly 3 decades. The fact that they're doing it now, and that Caitlin Clark is one of the focal points, speaks volumes about how far women's sports has come and how much Clark has contributed to that rise. She's not just benefiting from the momentum, she's a major reason it exists. Angel Reese can see all of this unfolding in real time. The billboard, the commercials, the endorsements, the spotlight, and at some point, she has to ask herself what it actually takes to reach that level. The answer isn't more posts or appearances. It's becoming so dominant and so culturally relevant that brands like Nike have no choice but to put you front and center. Clark reached that point, Reese hasn't, at least not yet. Maybe she will. Maybe she delivers a season so overwhelming that the narrative shifts. Maybe she leads a championship run that elevates her profile in a different way. It's possible. But right now, in January 2026, the reality is simple. Caitlin Clark has a Nike billboard on Hollywood Boulevard. Angel Reese does not. That gap tells you everything about where they currently sit in the hierarchy of women's basketball. Clark has officially crossed from star athlete into cultural icon. Reese can talk about being on Clark's level all she wants, but billboards don't lie. Nike invested their money and their most valuable advertising space behind Clark for a reason. If you want more unfiltered takes on women's basketball, make sure to like the video and subscribe.